Hi guys, Bomber here, welcome back to the channel. Today is the time of LULU, but before we jump into the card reveals, a quick recap on the rating system. Skip ahead if you already know this. Cards will be rated from 0 to 5. 0 means that the card is not competitive at all. 1 means that the card could be experimented with, but is still far from competitive play. 2 means that the card could see play, but only as an okay card in a specific strategy or archetype. 3 means that the card will see play, but is heavily dependent on the current meta. 4 means that the card is very good. It can be a very great addition or a key card in certain archetypes. 5 means that the card is meta defining. It is the key card or a power card in multiple archetypes. With that said, let's jump into the ratings. LULU is a 4 out of 5. LULU's support is pretty scaring when combined with cheap challengers such as Fleet Feeder Tracker or Flame Chompers. She is pretty fragile on her own and will have another time leveling up. So you can look at her as a body with removal if you have a challenger in an aggro deck, mostly Ionia Noxus or Demacia Ionia. For when she levels up, maybe in a more mid-range version with support AV synergies such as Demacia Ionia or Ionia Targon, the help picks can generate an insane amount of value, acting as removal on attacking turns thanks to vulnerable, or as an additional defense thanks to barrier on defensive turns. The barrier synergy could make a Shen LULU archetype possible, given that they synergize with each other, Shen providing support to Lulu's level up, while Lulu's level up provides barrier activations for Shen's level up. But this seems pretty experimental. Overall, a very solid card which will definitely be present in some amount in the meta. Whimsy is a 3 out of 5. Whimsy is the definition of a meta-dependent card. For example, against the current meta, it would be great, as it is a great counter to cards such as Devo Endure. But given that it can only target followers, we don't have many more followers which become so huge or have champion-like effects, and therefore they need to make them 1/1s or silence them. But Ionia doesn't really have a removal tool, the only one being Will of Ionia, which is a tempo removal and which got recently nerfed. Therefore, this will be run in some counter deck lists as a counter to certain strategies at some point, maybe as a 1 or 2 off. Fight Guide is a 1 out of 5. Fight Guide is pretty experimental. You don't have to be misled into thinking that this is an elusive card. It is more of a mid-range card which will make your huge allies even more threatening by giving them elusive, which has an interesting perspective, but the stats for the cost are lacking, and overall this seems too much of a commitment, which usually is not great for a card like this. It is notable though that cards which have Strike Nexus abilities, but which lack evasion, such as Swain, can benefit a lot from this effect, and this last interaction is definitely something that needs to be tested. Pix is at 0 out of 5. This is on paper at 2/2, only on attacking turns. Terrible to block with and dies as soon as it is blocked. Terrible card. Startled Stomper is a 2 out of 5. An overwhelmed card which prioritizes health over attack is kind of interesting. This will definitely be a great target for support, maybe going into Targon, as there, the buffs are permanent, and the additional health could make this survive more attacks, but other than that, not a particularly interesting card. Young Witch is a 4 out of 5. This is a mix between a Green Glade Duo and a Legion Drummer, the first being an auto-include in any aggressive elusive deck, and the second being a solid consideration in aggressive Noxus mid-range aggro. There is no way this card is not good, and it will be a solid option in any aggro or mid-range deck featuring Ionia, or in any of the new support synergies. Flower Child is a 2 out of 5. Solid 1-drop for support strategies. Compares to Green Glade Protector, as it scales based on a condition. Could be interesting in Targon, as the buffs are permanent and this scales into attack. A notable combo is Tiari the Traveler and this, creating a 4/3 and a 2/2 with even more possibility to scale by turn 2. Based on the consistency of support strategies, this could be included in an S tier mid-range aggro support, but it will only be a nice addition rather than the main. Fuzzy Caretaker is a 1 out of 5. This card is pretty hard to evaluate. You need to be in a support AV strategy to benefit from both his effects. It does not synergize well with LULU supporting him, and LULU is not a great target as the last piece of the support chain. Young Witch is not so great if it is supporting this, as the health bonus doesn't synergize with the quick attack. If the Caretaker instead supports the Young Witch, it is very good, as you are giving attack to an elusive unit, but then you need another unit to get the support from the Young Witch. To summarize, this needs to be very wide on the board and have a lot of support synergies. If that is the case, you probably want to be on Targon, which is more of a mid-range playstyle and will not go as wide, Also, the buffs are not permanent, and for a 1 mana more, you would probably run Mountain Sojourners rather than these. Overall, a pretty clunky card. It will see experimentation, but I doubt it will be a competitive card. Tasty Faefolk is a 2 out of 5. This is a better Deadbloom Wanderer, which has seen a lot of play in deep decks since it has deep synergies and the overall survivability needed for a control deck. If we will ever see a Ionia control, this will definitely be a viable option. Swole Squirrel is at 1 out of 5. It could be run in a strike-heavy synergy deck, such as in Demacia or Noxus, but in general there are better units for that amount of mana, and we will likely be blocked and die before you get any value out of it. Unless you can build an OTK deck with this as a combo piece, maybe with the use of Might in Noxus to give this Overwhelm and more attack, and then whittling that to double its attack before it strikes, for a 12 attack unit starting from turn 5, given that you bank mana. Or Ghost to give this elusive, and then maybe Judgment for a true OTK. Although both experiments seems to be destined to fail. So, that's it for this video, hope you liked it and find it useful, and as always, see ya!